headquarters in Redmond, Washington, in the States, and I've come down to talk to you a little bit about the new office today. I've never been to New Zealand, and certainly TechEd New Zealand by that measure, but in talking to my 3-year-old son this morning, I let him know that I had a presentation Wednesday morning, and he informed me that it was still Tuesday, and therefore my presentation wasn't until tomorrow, so I figure if I don't do very well today, I get to try this again, which is good news because I am a little nervous with a new crowd. So the new office is what we're July, August, so we're 3 months in to talking about this publicly. This is the first TechEd after we disclosed the new office back in the middle of July. So I'm really excited to do this presentation for the first time at a TechEd and to talk to you guys about what we're bringing to market in the near future. You know, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Abraham Maslow, the most famous probably for Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which those of you that had a psych class in school at university might have been familiar with. It was a concept that in order to fulfill the most advanced human needs, you must fulfill the most basic first. You must have food and water before you can fulfill family, love, and self-actualization. Maslow died of a heart attack in 1970, and I think, had he still been alive today, lived a very long life, he would have had to reinvent the hierarchy of needs, because we know that right above food and water is Outlook. And after Outlook, it's probably SharePoint, and followed by Excel, PowerPoint, and Word, of course. And now, after yesterday's keynote, you know that at the top, for everybody in this room, is an 82-inch capacitive touchscreen that you can use as your computer monitor at work. So in thinking about the dependency and the reliance that you all and all of your users have on Office, we've really taken great strides to reinvent Office in this new version, to take advantage of a whole bunch of new technologies that we have with Windows 8, but to also bring a new capabilities to market that improve productivity, that more tightly integrate the client applications, that deliver these capabilities in flexible ways, both on premises and from the web. And that's what I want to sort of show you today and give you a little bit of a peek into, although the rest of the week is going to be filled with a bunch of great sessions that go deeper. So let's start with what the industry trends and the sort of worldwide trends were that were influencing us as we started thinking about the new office. You know, these statistics are always interesting, but it's hard to actually think back to the time when I got, at least my first cell phone was a Motorola StarTAC with the flip phone with the little antenna on top, looked kind of like a Star Trek communicator. And now we've got this stat that we're going to have 1 billion smartphones in the world by 2016. Which is a tremendous increase over a fairly short span of time. And that's not the only device that we think about on a daily basis. We have tablet PCs, whether they're the ones that I enjoy using, like this wonderful Samsung Slate here, or the ones that many of you might enjoy using that I see a couple of stainless steel polished backs in the room that I'd prefer not to see. But whatever the case, there are just an enormous number of devices coming to market. And we know that you and IT and developer have to think about whether you have how to manage those devices, how to deal with the fact that your users are bringing them in, and how to deliver the same type of productivity experiences that you've all gotten accustomed to and come to depend on a PC on those devices, whether they're PC devices or somebody else's. We also look at this second statistic that 82% of the world's online population is in social networking. That actually is an interesting statistic, and if you break it down and you think about what the world's online population is comprised of, it's comprised of an age range that is tremendous compared to what it was 20 or 30 years ago. So when email first came to market, came into the world, the people with email addresses weren't 13-year-olds. They were 40-year-olds working for defense departments in governments. Today, the online population is comprised of this tremendous range of ages and tremendous range of different experiences and expectations. And we are challenged, both as software developers and as IT professionals, to deliver experiences that meets all of their needs. And that's a tremendous challenge. In the workforce today, you have at least 4 generations of workers coming to you with different expectations and different needs. And so we are challenged ourselves to deliver an office that would meet all of those needs in a way that was both familiar to the generations who had become familiar with Office in the early days and those who have become familiar with Office as a secondary product after becoming familiar with perhaps MySpace or Facebook as their first technical experience. And then the fact that you are telling us that the cloud is very real for you. It's real for us. We know that a large number of you are either in it, considering it, thinking about how to use it as part of your infrastructure or all of your infrastructure. And so thinking about how the cloud lands in Office was a big part of our investments with the new Office. I mean, that means more than just putting servers in the cloud for us, and it means more than just opening a web browser to use something. That's a simplistic view of the cloud, and we think about the cloud in a more sophisticated way, and I'm going to talk a little about that. This is my second slide. I have one more. After that, I'm going to do a bunch of demos. I promise I won't do too many PowerPoint slides for you today. I'm hoping that is the expectation you came here for. But be patient with me for just a few more minutes, and you're going to see a bunch of the product that I'm talking about. The vision for productivity that Microsoft has had is relatively consistent. This is a fairly simple way of looking at the problem, and we think that that simple approach is the right way to look at it. We think that the important thing to do is to deliver the best possible experience across every device you have in your hands in this room today, no matter what it is, no matter who you bought it from, where you acquired it, or how old it is. We also think that we need to deliver those experiences across whatever environment you have decided is best for your organizations. Whether that's an on-prem environment, whether that's a cloud environment, or a combination of the two. And we are uniquely positioned to give you that level of flexibility at Microsoft. And with the new Office, we did everything we could to take advantage of both of those environments and deliver a consistent set of experiences across those devices in both cloud and on-premises environments. And we think about that productivity experience in a way, again, that is about more than simply opening a web browser and reading a document. It's about instant messaging, it's about real-time collaboration, it's about content management, it's about social engagement and feeds and follows, it's about reporting and analytics and enterprise IT reporting and management. And all of that together packages up to really be what we think of as your modern Office. And the new Office, this modern Office experience, is about these four things. At least that's what a marketing department decided, and I think that it's a good idea. I really do. The number one, devices. As I've talked about, experiences across devices is truly important, and this is about having the same consistent fluid experience across devices, something that's familiar everywhere you go. This is about immersive experiences that take full advantage of things like the new Windows 8 infrastructure, new Windows 8 operating system, so you have immersive application experiences that are fluid and fast, touch optimized, touch first experiences that assume that you're going to have this, you're going to have this stylus, and at some point you're just going to have this, and all of those things are first-class citizens in the experience, depending on what you want to use at the time, what's best for you, and whatever productivity experience you're driving at the moment. We don't want anybody to feel limited to a touch experience or a stylus experience or a mouse experience at any time. We want you to be able to move fluidly between those things. The new Office is about the cloud. And again, this isn't just Office is in a browser. You know Office is in a browser. But it's also about Office being cloud connected. There are numerous cloud services out there that are important parts of your productivity experience, whether they are simply a search engine like Bing, whether they are something like SkyDrive for storage, whether it's something like Flickr for photograph storage. Whatever the case, there are cloud services that we should do a better job of connecting to Office so that you can have a more streamlined experience. We also think about an app development model that spans both on-premises and cloud, and I'm going to show you a little of that today. We also think about reliability that you've come to experience on premises in our cloud environment, and in fact, an experience that we hope can in fact even improve on what you've become familiar with in on-premises environments. The new Office is also social. And this isn't, again, limited to simply feeds, follows, and likes. This is about social collaboration embedded everywhere in the Office experience. Whether you're in Outlook, Word, Excel, or PowerPoint, whether you're online or on-prem, having a social collaborative experience that allows you to communicate to others in the way you see fit at the moment from whatever application experience you're in. Not having to jump between applications in order to have social experiences. We also think about new meeting experiences like high-definition video. We think about how Skype can be connected tightly within the Office experience so that the millions and millions, hundreds of millions of Skype users can be connected to the billion Office users in the world to have a true collaborative communication experience. But we also know that control is important. We know that in IT, you think about how to manage, how to secure, and how to protect your organization despite all these widely spread collaborative experiences that can introduce risk to your organization. So new investments in things like data loss prevention, investments in things like unified e-discovery across Exchange, SharePoint, and Lync to give you a better view into your organization. All of these things are important. Reimagining how you deploy Office. We know, deployment, nobody wants to deploy Office. You'd all just prefer it were there. We also prefer it were there. We hope the technology we bring to bear with the new Office will help you get the Office deployed more easily, and we're going to show you a little of that today. And we also want to give you the most common and consistent managing experience we can. So, with that, I'm going to show you the new Office. I'm going to spend a lot of time in the products, and afterwards we're going to have some time for questions. So let me jump right in. And I'm going to jump in on the machine that I'm presenting from here, which is a wonderful Samsung Series 7 Slate running Windows 8. If you haven't interacted with one of these, hopefully you had a chance in the stand last night to do so, but please come over to the stand today or tomorrow or the next day and have a chance to interact with these. These are really wonderful devices, and Windows 8 is a wonderful OS to use on them. But I'm going to jump into that first layer in my updated Maslow hierarchy of needs, which is Outlook. So the first thing you see when you look at the new Outlook is just an entirely new UI. Less is more sometimes. That's a popular cliche, but it's true. There's a ton not in the new UI, and that's one of the things I'm most proud about relative to the new Outlook. You'll notice that ribbon that we've all become familiar with is there, but it's kind of out of the way if you don't need it, because we don't need the ribbon there all the time. We need it when we need it. Also, your folders, they're there. Easy to use touch. You'll see I'm just using my finger here to scroll back and forth. You'll also see that the folders are spread out in such a way that I can easily select as I need to. But if I'm just reading my email, I don't need my folder view in the way right now. You'll also notice overall a very touch-friendly UI. Keeping you in context throughout this experience by hiding the ribbon and hiding your folders is an important part of the investments in Outlook. So many times you'll be reading an email and you'll need to check your calendar really quickly. I'm sure that's happened to folks in the room. Rather than jumping between the inbox and the calendar, we want to keep you in context. You're reading your email right now, but you do need to have a quick view of your calendar. So we've introduced things like peeks that allow you to quickly look at a preview of your calendar. This is fully interactive. Let you jump around and take a look, but then get it back out of the way if you don't want it there. Now, if you're a person that enjoys having this calendar view pinned to the right-hand side of Outlook like you have seen previously in Outlook 2010, you can certainly pin it back there. But we want to give you this experience that's optimized for a device particularly like this, where real estate is a premium. But the productivity experience you need still needs to be there, even in a limited real estate environment. In addition to that, if I'm sitting in this peak, I can jump over to the calendar. If I do need to take a look, you'll notice right away that there was a fluid transition between the inbox and the calendar, and that's actually an important part of the experience. We want people to really enjoy and love the experience they have with Office, and that includes things like semantic zoom, quickly pinching and zooming to navigate through my calendar, going week to week with a swipe. The gestures that you expect to have an effect on Outlook semantically will certainly result in the experience that you expect. Interestingly enough, one of the top 3 new feature asks in Outlook for the last 3 versions of Outlook is this weather bar across the top. We have had it on the feature list forever, and it always gets cut in lieu of some major integration feature with Exchange, and the Outlook team finally said, so many people are asking for it, we've got to do it. There's the weather bar. So if you're one of those people, you got a weather bar. Let me jump back to mail now. So on the right-hand side, you see email, again, very touch-friendly. Again, we want to keep you in context with Outlook. So if I want to reply to this email right here, maybe I want to jump down, tell Aziz thanks. I do a quick inline reply. I don't need to open a new window right here. I can just quickly say, no problem, and click send, right back in my inbox right where I was. Now, if I click reply again, I'm typing an email right here, but then I switch off. You notice that right above there, that email conversation was marked as draft. Now I know I didn't lose my draft email. I didn't have to open 7 or 8 windows to have all my drafts lined up for the day. I know there are people in the room that manage their email that way. I do. Now I know, hey, I've got a draft email. I can jump back. There's that email I was typing. Really easy to jump back and forth across mail throughout the day without leaving the context of your inbox. Additionally, as I mentioned when I was showing you slides earlier, one of the major investments we've made across Office is a new development model that allows developers to build applications for Office, for all the applications within Office, and deliver those applications through an integrated marketplace that will allow users to purchase applications directly within the Office experience from you and install them directly into the Office user experience. And I'm going to show you an example of those right now. I'm going to find which one. There it is. So you'll see quickly, and I'll use my stylus just to point this out. You see a couple of things appear right at the top of this email. And basically what Outlook has done is it's recognized that a couple of the apps for Office that I have installed are relevant to the content in this email. In the email, you'll see that there's an address of a sushi restaurant that I actually like a great deal in Seattle. And the Bing Maps app has been surfaced as a result. And if I tap on that, you see quickly, the address is highlighted in the email because Outlook has recognized there's an address. It's fed that address to the application, and the Bing Maps application has quickly mapped that. And this is not an image. This is a fully interactive HTML5 Bing website. I can zoom in. I can get all the way down to a street view and see exactly. And you can see real quickly in the bottom right here, if I need to jump to a full-size map and jump out into a web browser, I can do that. And this application is running within a protected environment, little sandbox right inside Outlook that allows Outlook to feed it information but protects the rest of Outlook data from the application itself. So you don't have the security risks and concerns that might have been presented by the old plugin model and the object model of Office that I know gives IT professionals fits over the years because of the challenge of stabilizing Office with some third-party plugins. In this case, you don't have that risk. The second application I have running here is using natural language recognition to see that there is a suggestion for a meeting here. Now this is still beta, so some of you undoubtedly will notice that it has picked the wrong Thursday at 8 p.m. May 10th is a little bit in the past, but we'll get that fixed before we ship, I promise. But you will notice what's happened is it's recognized as a suggestion for a Thursday 8 p.m. meeting at Umisaki House. Now if I hit save to calendar, it opens that calendar request, pre-fills in all the content with those dates and times, and I just hit submit, and the attendees are already recognized, so I don't even have to type in the names of the attendees. So a great new capability around apps for Office that lets developers build really rich interactive applications. And your imagination can run away with you on the types of applications, things like shipping reminders, tightly integrated line of business applications like a purchasing system or a sales point of service system that automatically brings up information about your customer base into an email when you see an email come in. Imagine a LinkedIn application, a partner of ours that has written this application already for Outlook that quickly populates LinkedIn data into an email from a person you've never heard of before. The possibilities really are endless for developers to build really rich experiences across Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and SharePoint with one common developer model. Not to stop there, one more thing about Outlook that is always an ask, always a request, is tighter integration with SharePoint. And one of the key ways in which we think about SharePoint integration with Outlook is we think about the fact that these are two applications where groups of users get together to collaborate in teams on projects. Most commonly, those teams and projects are formed in SharePoint sites, team sites that are formed so that you can collaborate on documents and quickly share updated documents on a regular basis. It turns out that emails are also relevant to teams. You all know that. You typically create folders in your inbox, I'm sure, with the names of projects in them and drag emails in them so you can organize that information. You then use a distribution group to send email to everybody in the group, and you file those emails in that folder. There's some disadvantages to that. New members of your team don't get to see legacy information. The historical record of that team engagement isn't stored like it is in SharePoint with documents. So with the new Office, we introduced a capability of Exchange in SharePoint called a site mailbox. A site mailbox is exactly what it sounds like, a mailbox mapped to a team site that any members of the team site have access to in Outlook. Auto-Discover will automatically provision that site mailbox to users that are members of Outlook, members of the team site. And in this case, if I take a look, you can see that I am a member of a site mailbox called Marketing Campaigns. So I have an inbox, I have documents. If I jump in and I look at my documents really quick, you can see that I have a couple of documents on my site mailbox. This is a real-time view of a document library in SharePoint. Not a synced file store, not a separate store, but a real-time view of my site mailbox. The same view, real-time view of my team site. The same view on the SharePoint side would give me a view into the email. And let me show you one of the advantages that this brings. I'm going to pin my folder list quickly so I can do this and scroll up. You see my document library there. I have an attachment that Sarah Davis has sent me, which is the Tailspin Toys proposal. And what I really want is to post this to my SharePoint site. Historically, I'd save it out, put it in a document folder, and then I'd open my SharePoint site, and then I'd upload it. In this case, I'm just going to drag it right there. And that's it. I've just posted it to my team site for everyone to see. It's also just appeared for everyone in their document library. And I'm going to give this thing a second to make sure that that uploads to SharePoint. And everybody pray to the demo gods for me. Thank you. There we go. All right. Thank you. I think drag and drop Outlook documents into SharePoint site deserves at least a little bit of a clap. That's good, right? Feel free to clap at any time, because the Visual Studio guys next door, I can hear them, and we want to make sure we make enough noise that they know that this is the more interesting session. But let me, just to make sure that nobody doubts my integrity on this, I'm going to right-click on this and just say open a web browser, and we're going to jump straight to that team site. So here's the new SharePoint. Before I spend too much time on it, I'll go right to that documents library, and you'll see that Tailspin Toys proposal that was just posted by me about a minute ago, sitting right there, ready to go. You'll also notice a really interesting feature as I click on this. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Is if I click on this 3 right here, I'll get a preview of that document before I have to open in Word. And this is actually a touch-enabled preview that lets me scroll through the document and take a look at it really quick using the Word web app in a small form factor. Again, a really interesting way to prevent you from having to load up the full app, to have to move really quickly between views, but in context, get to take a quick look to make sure this is the doc I indeed want to look at. But let's jump back to that home page again. The new SharePoint's really beautiful now. I mean, that's something right there. This is a beautiful, engaging UI to look at. I've got this project task list down here that is easy to adjust if I need to, change the dates of a project task that's linked back to my project server. I've also got the ability to customize this thing really easily because maybe I don't like the default view right here. And so in the new SharePoint, I want to give you an easy way to change the look and feel of your SharePoint site. That, admittedly, was never the easiest thing to do in the past. It's super simple now, and I get to pick from a bunch of templates. I'm going to go ahead and pick this nature template right here, and we're going to jump into a view which shows me that colors. I can change the layout, the colors. I can change the background image, and I actually have a better background image here. I think you guys will be familiar with this one, and I'm just going to drag it right there. Update the background image to a city view of Auckland. And I want to actually take a look at this really quick. And so right now, what SharePoint's going to do, I've got to stay near the mic, don't I? What SharePoint's going to do is it's going to present a preview of the site without implementing those changes to me so that I can take a look at how the site would look with those changes, real time, the actual site, same name, no templated graphic. And I get to decide to commit it, in which case the changes will be made, or just throw it out. Super simple, really straightforward, easy to make changes. Just so I don't ruin my demo for another session, I'm going to say no really quickly. So let's close that really quick. But there's more to show in SharePoint for sure. We talked about Office being social. So SharePoint brings a news feed to you. The new SharePoint brings a news feed to you that lets you have social real-time collaboration and microblogging within your organization right inside of SharePoint. And this has got a bunch of really interesting components. One, we've got tightly integrated web app experiences. So if I want to quickly preview a document that's been posted, I can, and again, I can scroll through it to make sure it's the document I'm interested in. I can quickly like that document if I want to. I can also, if there's a video posted and somebody is decide to share in the company social feed, I can quickly take a look at that video right here without having to jump out to a website. I can always jump out if I need to, but we've got tightly integrated experiences right inside the SharePoint site. And the reason why things like likes and follows are important in the business world is because you actually are interested in following and liking quite a bit more than the average 13-year-old on Facebook. The reality is that people, documents, websites are all interesting things to be alerted on. There's a fairly complicated way of setting things up around being alerted on changes to documents or sites currently. Now you've got this very straightforward way of following documents, following sites, following hashtags within your organization so you can quickly be alerted to any changes that happen against those documents, or you can quickly jump to those things that you have liked or followed in the past. And in fact, while I don't have suggestions on the right-hand side of the screen right now, SharePoint will actually suggest documents to you based on the characteristics of the people, documents, and sites that you have followed in the past, in case a document with a similar topic written by the same person or on the same site has been posted recently. So a really quick way for you to navigate the social environment around your organization. I'm going to take a quick drink of water, guys. So, Yeah, I totally will answer questions at the end, but yes, we're cross-browser compatible. I can't promise Silk on Kindle Fire, but the major browsers, yes. So right after you've moved beyond that first layer in the hierarchy and addressed Outlook and SharePoint, you then need to actually work on something. You jump into Word, Excel, or PowerPoint. So I'm going to jump into Word, which is the next layer in my new hierarchy of needs. And the first thing you see is an entirely new start place for Word. So in most of our user research, we find that almost all, like 2/3, I think, is the data of users actually either open a template or a recent document when they first open Word, PowerPoint, or Excel, in fact. So we've changed the starting point for Word such that those are the two things you're presented with right away. Now I can always click Open Other Document, but what we want to do right away is just give you this UI with all of your templates sitting right there, big previews, easy to select, and your most recent documents right over here. So over on the left-hand side, you'll see the Washington State Fly Fishing Guide. I happen to be a avid salmon fisherman out in the state of Washington. If you ever get out there, I highly recommend it. And I'm going to jump into that really quick. And one of the things you'll see in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen is that little flag that popped up that said, "Welcome back, pick up where you left off." Office is remembering where I last was in this document and lets me jump directly to that. And that's all about a new reading experience or productivity experience that works across both PowerPoint documents and Word documents. That let me quickly jump around to the place I was last, but also part of a reading experience that you see in front of you right now, which is the new read mode in Word. So this is a mode that is actually optimized for the user interface that I'm sitting on. So size of font, number of columns, pages, all optimized for the device that I'm using right now. On the PPI board, I might see a few more columns. On a smaller device like a phone, I might see a single column. I also can quickly zoom to different sizes, and it will reflow the document to the size that I need. Without a problem. You'll see it adjusted to a single column to two column in that moment. I can scroll through this easily to read. If I finish reading a section of the document, I can collapse them to get them out of the way, so I know I've read them. If someone has edited this document, I can quickly see that comment stream right there. And you'll notice that the comment is both presence-enabled, photo-enabled, and threaded. So now you have logical conversations around comments and editing in Word while you're editing documents. And all available in this new read mode. If I have a table, if I have something like a video, for example, that's been embedded in the Word document, we want that new next generation reading experience to be available to you on any device. So right here, I can jump in and see this is a video. I pop up, I can play it right from YouTube in this case. I get that video presented to me right in my user experience, and I jump right back out when I'm done. So a super next generation reading experience. I just zoomed in accidentally. In Word. And I'm going to jump back out to the print view really quick now. But we still think that you need to write Word documents every once in a while. And in this case, I think we could probably place a new image right here because we're missing a photo of my favorite fish to catch, which is a coho salmon. So I'm going to go ahead and show you an example of how Word is cloud connected. And again, what I said before is cloud is more than just about a web browser. It's about actually tightly integrating web experiences into every application productivity experience. And in this case, I want to insert a picture from the web. I don't want to go to a web browser and open it up and save a picture out, put it in a folder, copy that file, insert it. I just want to find it from the web. So we've inserted a new insert from web capability right in Word, right in PowerPoint that lets you search any number of web services. If I actually had been signed into a Flickr account or a SkyDrive account here, I'd see ways to search those folders as well. In this case, I have Office Clip Art and my Bing image search, and I'm just going to search for coho. I see there's a coho salmon picture right there. We'll go ahead and insert that. It's a little bigger than I want it to be. So, and I actually don't really want the text to be laid out this way. So I'm going to take a look at this pop-up menu that lets me change layout options. So I'm going to quickly wrap the text differently, but still not exactly what I'm looking for. So let me go ahead and resize this. And what you'll see is a new feature called Live Layout, which real-time shows me how the text is reflowing based on the position of the image. And as I drag it, same thing, along with guidelines to pin it centered, to pin it in the middle, to pin it to the left. Come on, that's good stuff. Beautiful documents. Beautiful documents made simple. No guessing, no dropping a ghost around your document and then seeing it's in the wrong place and trying again. It's all about creating those beautiful documents really simply. Let me jump out of Word. So the next app I'm going to show you is Excel. Now Excel is an app that you either use a lot or you really don't know much about. I think there are probably a few people in the room that use it a lot. I use it a lot. One of the biggest challenges with Excel over the years is that we've got these great analysis tools, and it's a really super tool for showcasing data. But man, is it hard to format data, because how often do you take data from a source that is simply not formatted the way you need it to? And you just need it to look better. And in this case, for example, I've got this list of first name, last name, and what I actually need is the full name column and an initials column for my outbound source, because I'm going to copy this data into an application or into a form. So what's my typical approach for this, right? I start typing. Kim Abel, John Abbott. That's one of the coolest features that I have ever used. But let me tell you, it doesn't stop there. Let's say I want the initials. So we know what this is, K, A, then J. But wait, Excel got it wrong. What you can see is that Excel actually had trouble with the hyphenated names. It didn't know what to do with this last name, and we know that this actually should be an AA and not an A Abu-D. So we're going to go ahead and make this change to this one column and watch what happens to the rest. Excel learned. It knows that I just changed the format. It understood what I was trying to do. It looked for a matching pattern. There's another example down here where the middle initial actually also created a problem. Again, this should be an AA. And it fixes the other initial name. I just saved myself hours of typing if this was a 1,000-line spreadsheet. The productivity gains that you can have from this are tremendous, but I'm going to keep showing demos of this because it is the coolest feature around. Social security numbers in the US are our citizen ID. Many of you may be familiar with them. They're typically 3 numbers, hyphen 2 numbers, hyphen 4 numbers. Often we'll get data copy-pasted in a way that isn't formatted that way, and so in this case, I'm going to quickly make a change. But again, Excel didn't get this quite right, because some of the data in my source, and this happens a lot. You copy data out, and not all the data is consistently formatted in your source location. Maybe it was a database. Maybe it was a line of business app. But you need to get all that formatted in a pretty way. Maybe you're presenting it to your boss. Maybe the VP of Finance wants to have the data, and you want it to look good. This is an opportunity for you to do that really simply. And again, in this case, I'm going to go through and just make one correction and watch it correct all of the data in my entire spreadsheet. But wait, there's more. What if you copy-paste data from sales leads database and you're trying to send your salespeople email addresses? Again, let's do it one more time, right? This is just, whoa. I gotta get that back so you can see what I'm doing. Whoa. What happened? Where's Excel? There it is. Whoa. Oh, you know what? I don't have enough. Sorry. I gotta get this thing back out. There we go. So, again, Nancy F. AOL.com, Andy. There you go. But let's be serious. What if we really wanted to do this for the purpose of data analysis and not just to make you guys all clap and go ooh and ah a lot, which I totally enjoy, but I want to show you another example where we actually say we've got this data. This has been copy-pasted out of maybe a financial reporting tool that you use internally. This is actually very similar to some of the result sets that I get when I look at my own budget at Microsoft, which is not super useful. Column B is a conglomeration of a lot of data, and what I actually need is the category and the name of the person that spent this money, and I need to run a report against it. So in this case, I'm going to quickly break out the category. Again, with what we call flash fill really easily. There we go. Got the category out, and now I'm going to take the salesperson out. There we go. Got my data formatted the way I want. I go left, down, there we go. Now I've got the data I need to analyze. Next thing I want to do is analyze it. This is where that I don't know much about Excel thing comes in usually for people because they don't have the first clue what to do at this point. So we've created something called quick analysis. This is a tool that quickly suggests ways you might analyze this specific data set. For example, with a data bar conditional formatting layer, perhaps a color scale layer that changes based on the amount of money that you're talking about. Maybe you want to do a chart, like a bar chart or clustered bar chart. These are not images of potential charts. These are real-time analysis of this data set showing you what that would look like. Or perhaps the most complicated of Excel features and the most powerful, the pivot table. Quickly suggest possible pivot tables. I click on this. There's that pivot table. I can quickly add columns. Make every user a power user in your organization. Nobody knows how to create a pivot table. We don't think anybody needs to. We'd like to make it easy for you. So let me jump out of Excel now. So we moved past Word, we moved past Excel, so what's left? PowerPoint. Well, you were looking at this earlier. Here's that deck I was presenting. I'm going to actually open a new one that's pinned right here in my new backstage for the new office. This Coho Vineyards PowerPoint presentation opened right there. So quickly, this is, again, a beautiful new minimal UI with focus on content over Chrome. The ribbon is still there if I need it. I can quickly use touch just to change transitions if I want to and see the drafts or the transitions in advance before I finalize them. But in the end, despite having a very touch-friendly UI that's easy to navigate, I can pinch in, I can zoom out. The PowerPoint's all about presenting. I really, really want people to be more confident presenters when it comes to using PowerPoint. So let me jump into a presentation. This is where I have to look over my shoulder to see what's over here. Here I am with my touch device. I've just walked in the conference room. I'm swiping back and forth to transition between slides. Something that you'd expect. Maybe I want to zoom in to show you that a little more closely. Maybe I want to pick up my my stylus and use this as a laser pointer just to highlight where on this slide things are. Or perhaps I want to use this as a pen so that I can mark up and put some emphasis on the algae body wrap I'm going to get after this session. Maybe I want to jump around really quickly back to that title slide. So lots of very straightforward, easy-to-use stylus and touch capabilities. But what you're looking at right now is actually what you'd be looking at in the room while I was talking about my future spot treatments. What I'm looking at is a new presenter view. And I'm going to swap screens. This is a fairly non-traditional way to present, showing you what I'm looking at. But I want you to take a look at what I was seeing. So let me get my mouse over there. So what you're seeing is a new presenter view that presents my current slide, my next slide, my notes, again, zoomed in or out to whatever size I need to present. There's that, when I jumped back to the front of the slide presentation, I tapped that. I get the whole deck. I can quickly jump. So no more somebody asks you a question in a meeting and you go, oh, I have that in the appendix, and you go next. You just jump to that slide and you look brilliant. It's awesome. If you want to zoom, very straightforward. You click zoom, there it is. You can drag around. The people on the other side just see you zooming in on that chart that you wanted to feature. And again, right here, you saw me being able to choose laser pointer, choose pen, choose a highlighter really quickly with a stylus. So a super way to make you a more confident presenter. Let me discard my annotations. So that's the new PowerPoint. It's fun, right? PowerPoint. So I've got one more product to demo, and maybe I'll go back to slides, or maybe I'll take a poll to see if anybody wants to see one last demo. Let me jump out of this. Oh, actually, I'll leave that open real quick. So Lync. How many of you love Lync? Yeah, we got a lot of Lync users in the room. Awesome. Okay. Lync is awesome with the new Office, and I'm going to show you one example of how it's become awesome. I have a couple of colleagues sitting. I'd like to pretend they're sitting all over the world in exotic cities, but really they're in another room in the hotel. And I'm going to have a little conversation with them really quick. I think I have caps lock on. Looks like a few of them are on a call already, so. So let's go ahead and see if Adam here, who's sitting a little over, there he is, can drag me into this meeting. So I should see a request pop up really quick. Have faith. There we go. You can clap for that, but it's probably not worth it. So what you're seeing right now is multi-party, high-definition video. And there's my video right there, just so you guys know it's real. This thing's at a bad angle right now. Everybody wave. There we go. All right, here, I'll unmute so that they can hear me. Everybody can wave. Everybody's in the room is seeing you. They're very impressed with your good looks. And there are a few different ways that I can view this. I can quickly change to a speaker view that'll actually focus on the person making the most noise, which is evidently, that's actually a guy named Steve, not Garth, but that's all right. We can also look at this smaller if we want to be looking at something on our desktop at the same time. But let's go back to that gallery view, the large view. and go full screen. Adam, can you pull up a PowerPoint presentation for us? So what Adam's going to do right now is add a PowerPoint. What you're seeing right now is the PowerPoint web app embedded in the Lync application, launching within Lync to show a PowerPoint without any dependency on actually app sharing with PowerPoint. All of it's happening within the Lync application. And right there, you see the same presentation that we had before. Now, this application right here, in this environment, what we want to really do is do some common markup. We want to talk about this and work on this together. So I want to go in and pick a pen right here. Let's go orange. And I'm going to start marking up right here and saying, no, this is not enough. We need 30%. We need to get more money for charity. And the other folks in the room can actually mark up this chart at the same time while I'm interacting with it. You can see some of them are starting to draw on the screen right now so that we can have a productive working session with this PowerPoint presentation. I can take over as presenter if I want, in which case it's actually going to make me the presenter. And now I'm driving the PowerPoint, and I can jump slide to slide as needed. But a tightly integrated, rich, multi-party, high-definition video. I highly recommend you come by the stand at some point over the next couple days and watch us do this from that PPI board, because the next generation meeting experience that we're all going to have in the coming years with technology like that gigantic capacitive touchscreen and a multi-party, high-definition video environment really changes the way we communicate. I spent a lot of time talking to my colleagues down here in the front row in the New Zealand office. It is really a long flight to get here. It would be really nice if we could have this level of interactive experience across the larger ditch over to Seattle, Washington. And that's what we have with this new version of Lync at Microsoft, and I look forward to you all experiencing it as well. So that is my quick tour of Office. Now I could go back to, I'll take the poll. Would you like to see my last slide, or would you rather see another demo? Slide? Okay. Demo? Demo, okay. So, yeah. It's all right, we were prepared for that. So all of you, I know, in the end of the day, you look at all this, you get excited, you clap, there's a bunch of great features, and then you have to go deploy it. And I know that's the moment where you go, if we just didn't have to deploy it, if we're just there already. We did a ton of work in the new Office to help make deployment fundamentally different. This isn't just about making everything a little bit better. This is about changing the game entirely. And since I've been up here for a while, I'm actually going to bring a colleague of mine, Jeremy Chapman, up to talk about how deployment is entirely different with the new Office. Come on up, Jeremy.
Thank you.
I'm going to stay up here with you.
Thanks, Michael. You can always back me up. Okay, well, we've done a lot in terms of making sure that Office can be the fastest able version of Office to get deployed out there. So I'm going to show you a quick demonstration of what that looks like to get Office into the hands of users. Let me go to my demo. All right, so you're seeing a virtual machine here, obviously, but I have a few other virtual machines running in the background. So I've got a laptop up here that has 32 gigs of RAM and 1.2 terabytes of hard drive in RAID 0 using Intel solid-state drives, just to make sure I can run 16 virtual machines at a time. Because what I want to show you is how much faster Office is to install first, and then compare that to how fast the old MSI-based packages were back in Office 2010 by installing Service Pack 1 and seeing if I can beat the install of Service Pack 1 2010 with 15 installs of Office, the new Office. So we're going to get started here by showing first a click-to-run install. And basically what we're doing here is we're looking at some configuration files. So one of the first things that people think of when they think of Office in the cloud or Office 365 is, boy, it needs to be fast, but I want it to run locally on the disk. I want to make sure that I can use it offline. So one of the things that we're doing, one of the many things that we're doing, is making that process much faster to actually stream Office down to the computer. So before Office is even fully cached on that hard drive, I can have an experience with about 2 minutes of caching to where I can launch the application from a cold install. And I had nothing installed on this machine before, obviously, but I can get Office running within about 2 minutes. If I think about how long that took in the old MSI days, especially Office 365, I might have spent 30 minutes downloading Office, 700 megabytes. I might have spent another 20 minutes installing it with Service Pack 1, and maybe about an hour later, I was able to launch and use a Word app, for example. Now with Office, this version of the new Office, we're able to start streaming within about 2 minutes. We can get a running version of Office that we can actually launch our Word app or our PowerPoint app almost immediately. Part of the other benefits that we get out of this are, and I'm just going to click through the normal experience, and I'm good to go. Part of the other benefits that we get from this is that we can install Office now side by side with other versions. So what I'm going to be able to do now, I used to be an IT pro, and one of the things I always wanted to do was be able to throw new software over the fence. One of the things that we can do now is basically, without the risk of application compatibility, testing, all those things that you might have spent like a year getting prepared for the new Office, you can deploy that new version side by side with an existing copy of Office. So I don't have to worry about if I've got an Excel spreadsheet with a macro or an add-in or something I haven't tested. If I've got a large organization with 10,000 users, I might have 100,000 files I'd like to test. That might have taken a year out of my deployment time to get that new Office version delivered because I had to upgrade or replace that old Office version. Now we can have the old version running side by side with the new version. So here I'll just launch an app. Again, hopefully the demo gods do cooperate, but I get Word 2013, we're up and running. It's been about maybe 3 minutes since I initialized the install, but much, much faster than you ever could have gotten Office installed in the MSI format in the past. So I think this is pretty cool stuff. So we will accept our EULA, and now we're ready to run Word 2013 in this case, and all of the Office apps. But wait, there's more. So let's give a comparison to what Office 2010 looks like installing against this race of all the other VMs that are going to install side by side with existing copies of Office. I'm going to start the MSI installation. One of the things that you'll notice is even getting to just that page where I can click the Install Now button, it almost takes as long as what it took to get Office, the new version, up and running and get an application fired up and opened. So just even getting to, it's not responding, there we go, the Install Now, it's finally there, and about 30 seconds later I can hit that Install Now button. So I'll give it a little bit of a head start. And now I'm going to kick off installs on my other computers that are running in virtual machines. So just to make sure I don't have any Office installed on here, I don't have the new version of Office, I will launch my sample file just to show not only can I install side by side with the older version and have that run, even Outlook by the way, I can even be working while my IT department delivers me a new copy of Office. So I don't have to worry about being interrupted from my normal daily tasks to get that new copy of Office installed on my machine. So here we got Word 2003 running, and I can do that on all of my systems. But we're going to sit and watch the installations actually stream down on all these computers. Again, all of these have different versions of Office pre-installed. And again, very, very quickly, I'm able to cycle through and have all of these computers installed. And if you look at our old MSI up here, old meaning 2010, it's only at about 10%. And I've already got roughly half of my machines kicked off, starting. Basically what's happening in the background is I have a scheduled task waiting for a file to change. Based on that, we're going to kick off installations. And once it's all done, I use a sysinternals tool from a friend of mine, Mark Rasinovich, that I can swap the desktop backgrounds to show that both versions, whether it's 2003, 2010, or 2007, are running side by side on all these different virtual machines.
You just said a lot of really complicated things, but if I won't use the competitive names, but if I'm a System Center fan and I like to deploy software via System Center, I hear nobody clap for System Center.
Nobody's a System Center software distribution guy.
If I'm a System Center fan, I can use System Center to deploy via this.
Definitely. So what I can do here is I can use any software distribution tool. I can declare how I want to do update management, if I want to do the updates myself or have them come from the cloud. I can use Windows Intune. One of the cool things we can do is actually use the Intune cloud to instruct the Office cloud to build what we want. Define the version number, the language, the update modes, and basically Intune will do a little bit of work just to send down the instruction set. The Office cloud then takes over, then success gets reported back into Intune. So a lot of cool things we can do to actually make the clouds cooperate here, but anything that will run administrative elevated command prompt will be able to install Office. So whether you've got System Center Configuration Manager, Intune, Altiris, Tivoli, whatever you've got, that will all work. Because basically you're just running a setup.exe that's doing all the work like you would a normal application install. So now we're pretty much all complete installing all of our Office applications. I can launch a couple of these here as part of the final demo, but look at our MSI here. It's still chugging along. It probably won't even complete before the hour is over.
10 more minutes, it'll be close.
We've got 10 more minutes, so we'll see if that's done. But basically, now all of my VMs have a new install of Office running alongside the old one. Just to prove that, you can see in our start menu, I have the old Office 2007 and the new 2013 files ready there, already to be launched. amazing stuff to get Office deployed in a faster way than ever, and also without all that risk of application compatibility. We've got all this side-by-side capability now.
It's really amazing stuff, and the app virtualization technology gives us a ton of other benefits around keeping Office up to date. And that's really
that was amazing too. So anybody sign up for the customer preview of Office? Anybody use the click to run installer? So on the day one, 7/16 or July 16th, we released .10.14 build of Office. We found within a couple of days that there was a bug we had to fix. We then put out 10.19 the following Monday, and it was the most successful beta software update we've ever had. We didn't use MSP files, we didn't use WSUS, any of that stuff. We just posted the update, and about 500,000 users received the update. A lot of them, most of them by design, didn't even see it. They could look in and go to their account page in the backstage and see, I'm now on .10.19 build, but the basically unobtrusive updating in the background, we cached all those updates. It was only a small file transfer because we're comparing what's there and only giving you the deltas, but it was completely invisible to the user. So you as an IT guy can do that same kind of stuff. I can decide to take automatic updates or push them down to my users. The main thing is users can keep working. They don't have to close their apps to get updates. It's completely invisible to them, and you got a lot more capabilities than you had in the past in terms of making that really clean update management story.
Yeah, and whether you decide, as Jeremy said, whether you decide to let your users get those updates directly from Microsoft or manage the update process yourself, we will distribute those app virtualization packages to you so that you can distribute and your users still have that uninterrupted update experience. I'll tell you, for the last, we're almost a year into dog fooding, for those of you that are regular attendees probably know that term, of running the new Office internally at Microsoft. And we are version upgraded on a daily basis in dog food. Every new engineering build is pushed down to our machines every single day across the entire engineering team and product team. So you're talking about, in the thousands and thousands of employees, they're getting a new version of Office deployed every single day. And it has been one of the more, honestly, pleasant experiences ever. Every morning, a new version, a little alert pops up, says a new version coming down. It streams down. Sometimes you have to exit Outlook and come back in if it's a big update, but mostly nothing happens. I get a new feature, a new capability, or a new bug fix in beta, and it happens seamlessly. It's really tremendous, and it's an entirely new deployment experience, so it's something that I really encourage you guys to spend some time learning about. And you have a session?
I have a long deployment session tomorrow, 60 minutes, just purely on how Click to Run works, how we can manage the deployment of that, and how it can be integrated with other existing software distribution tools. So lots of content there this week. We're going to do a top 10 session here at 11:55, I think, going over this and a lot of the other features that Michael didn't have a chance to show us. A couple of shameless plugs for my stuff coming up, but we've got a lot of great content this week. So with that, I'm going to let you take back over the podium.
Yeah, I'm going to need your help in a second, actually. We have, so rather than do the formal, I saw a couple of hands come up. I'm sorry for casually ignoring them. I apologize. I do want to answer questions. We actually have more than just Jeremy and myself here. We have a couple folks in the front. We have some folks that were on that Lync call that I'm sure are jogging back to this room if they're not here already. So I'd love to, rather than take the formal questions from the front, I'd love to just let you guys pile up if you have questions. We can probably field more questions that way in the break. But before we do that, do you have your 2 questions ready, Jeremy?
I do. So
all right, we have a couple of things to give.
We have a couple
of giveaways before we end the session. Take questions.
High-class prizes. All right, so.
Super cool remote-controlled cars with Office logos on them.
All right. We're going to have to work for them. All right. So let me delve into the things that you were showing earlier. So when you were presenting Excel and you were doing all that great stuff where you were filling in the content, what feature was Michael using? That's the first hand right over there.
Right there.
Yes, he wins a brand new BMW, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so the installation technology used for the new Office 2013, how was the first hand up there? Click to Run is correct. Wow, 2 guys in the front row. Thank you so much. All right, just to show, I've got my side-by-side running real quick. So I've got now the 2 apps, both versions ready to go. Whoops, I closed out of that one. I probably shouldn't have right there. But basically, I'm able to get both of the apps running side by side with one another. You can see all my icons have been refreshed, but I was able to get both copies of Office. We'll say Ask Me Later. And I've done all these installs in a fraction of the time that it would have taken with the MSI is back here of Office 2010. Let's have a look at our MSI. It's at 50%, and it still hasn't even applied the updates yet. If you believe in progress bars, I certainly don't. When it gets to the end, it's still got about 10 more minutes of Service Pack 1 application. So killing the performance in terms of how much faster we are compared to the MSI.
So please check out all the resources that the folks that put this great event together have available to you. There's a few URLs right there. There's also the eval. Please do your evals. It is important to us. We use that feedback. We are held accountable for it. We want to know that we're adding value and delivering content that really helps you guys do your jobs better. Thank you very much. Please feel free to come up front and ask questions.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.